All right. Well, you guys, welcome back. If you are new here, we are the Habit team. The Habit is a nutrition coaching company made for women by women. Our program is built for you with coaches who put your goals, lifestyle, and personality first. If you want to learn more about us, head to the episode notes or go to thehabit.com. That's habit with a Y to either request more information or book your free discovery call. Episode 5, you got Coach Zand, and I am so excited to welcome back Coach Stephanie. She has been on a little hiatus. So just so everyone knows, new listeners, old listeners, Stephanie first joined the Habit as a coach back in 2021, which is wild, 5
Very
years
wild.
ago. Yes. And, over the past year and a half, she took a step back from her role as a coach with the Habit. Obviously, she always remained family. We kept in touch, and now she is ready to return, or she already has. You came back, what, a couple months ago now?
Yeah,
Kind of
slowly
getting
starting.
your feet back, grounded in the coaching, position. And I feel like you never left, essentially.
Oddly, it was like I never left. Like
I know.
it was
Yeah,
really just like picked up right where we left off. And
exactly. We're so excited for her to come back, and that is kind of what the main topic is on this podcast is we want to chat about why Stephanie had to take a step back. She was going through a lot of personal things, a lot of health issues. And, she got to a point where she needed to prioritize healing herself. And that required her to take a step back from her role as a habit coach. Even though it was painful for her to step back, she knew it was the right decision. But I told her from the beginning, take as long as you need. You need to heal yourself, go on your own journey, and you will always have a spot back with the habit. And so I just thought it would be really enlightening to talk about her story, everything she went through, because some people may be very unaware of some of these triggers and symptoms that Stephanie was dealing with. And we just want to kind of share to shed light on, some of the things that she dealt with. I'm being very vague because this is Stephanie's story. And so I want to make sure that we get into the nitty gritty. But basically, Steph, why don't we just start with what initially started happening in terms of symptoms, things going on in your life that set you down this path of healing, basically your nervous system.
okay. I'm gonna do my
Loaded
best.
question.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my best to kind of revisit these scenarios and explain as the best I can. Um, but it did start. I do remember the first instance where I was like, "Whoa, something's off." Um, I can't say what the exact trigger was in that moment. I still honestly
Mhm.
don't even know. Um, but I remember being at my other job and I was working with a patient and I had, set them up to get changed for their exam, everything. I was walking back to my desk and I just felt like an overwhelming sense of I guess lightheadedness, like I was gonna be sick, and it was the strangest thing because I was just fine, like, 2
Mhm.
minutes prior, and it was just like a whoosh came over me, and I
Mhm.
was like, I had to sit down, I had to, like, tell my coworkers, like, "Listen, I need to just take a minute first, like, I don't know what's happening." It passed, and then I went on with my day, but I kept, like, thinking to myself, that was really strange, like, that's never happened to me before.
Mhm.
Um, so that happens, and months go by, happens again. I probably wouldn't even say months, I'd probably say maybe a month, few weeks to a month, goes by, happens again, and now I'm starting to get a little worried because I'm like, this isn't the first time that this has happened to me, and I'm not really sure why it's happening. And then it started happening more frequently.
Mm.
And, that led me to it manifested so physically in me that my head went to something is medically wrong. something has to be, maybe I have like something with my heart. Maybe I need like an ablation because my heart rate would spike up. Maybe it's something in my head. I have no idea at this point. So now I'm going to doctors, right? Because I'm trying to
Mhm.
figure out why this is happening. And then it kind of took a turn when I had one of these episodes. Okay, let me backtrack. It did get to the point where every morning I would wake up and I would feel like the blood was draining out of me. It was the
Mm.
weirdest feeling. Every single morning,
Mhm.
wake up, I feel out of my body. I don't feel like myself. I feel like it's taking me extra to get up and go do my things, like go to the gym early. This is my routine. This is what I do. But now I feel outside of my body, and now I'm starting to really think something's off. I remember the thing that really set it off was I was waking up like that for a little bit of time, maybe like maybe a few weeks. I was waking up like that, like really not feeling me. And, then I said to myself, okay, I'm going to go on a walk because at this point I haven't been going to the gym because I just can't. I'm going to go on a walk. I'm going to, I remember texting my brother because, my whole family was involved in this because they're like, what's going
Mhm.
on? She's usually so active. Why can't she bring herself to do these things? Um, I texted my brother. I said, I'm doing it. I'm going on a walk. I'm getting past this. I'm pushing through this. I don't know what this is, but I'm getting past it because the doctors weren't finding anything medically wrong with me. Um, so I went for the walk. I turned to the corner to come back to my house, and everything went to crap. Like, I could not. I had to sit on the ground. I had to call my mom. It was like everything was collapsing in it was like the surroundings were collapsing. And I
Mhm.
couldn't my heart rate spiked. I always used to wear my Aura ring, and of course, I wasn't wearing my Aura ring. I
Mm.
couldn't
Of
see how
course.
high my heart was going, but I knew it was up there. Um,
Mhm.
couldn't calm myself down, called my mom, literally I'm crawling to the car to get into the car into my house, and I said, "I'm going back to the emergency room," because I have had emergency room visits prior because
Mhm.
nobody was giving me an answer, and I knew something was wrong. That was
The
the
catalyst to everything.
catalyst to
Mhm.
everything. Yeah. I
I
that
sorry
that
to
time I
inter
wouldn't leave. I had to stay overnight because I was like, I'm not leaving." Like, no.
Good. Well, I'm glad you advocated for yourself, and I'll never forget you messaging me and being like, "I almost just fainted on a walk. Something's going on."
Yeah.
And you had already told me a little bit, like, "I'm experiencing some of these, weird moments. I don't really know. I'm trying to figure it out." And then that walk was your defining moment for sure.
Yeah.
And just so the listeners know a little bit, like, what exactly, like, your heart rate's increasing where you were getting lightheaded, right?
Yeah.
And
Almost like
you kind
almost
of
like a pass out feeling.
okay, like, almost like vertigo in a way, like, to where you felt like your
I
world
didn't
was
think
spinning around you?
I didn't get spins or anything.
Okay.
It wasn't the spins. It was a lightheaded, like I was gonna like I needed to sit down. Um
Got it. Okay.
yeah, the room was never spinning. Nothing like
Okay.
that.
Mhm.
Um so I stayed in the emergency room overnight. That was very uncomfortable. At this point, I'm constantly checking my blood pressure. I'm constantly checking my heart rate, my oxygen level, like just trying to get an answer. Like
Mhm.
give me an answer. So they're doing these echocardiograms on me. They're doing um I think they did a CAT scan in the hospital, but they didn't do an MRI. They did check my carotids. They checked if I had a blood clot, possible pulmonary thing, like
Mhm.
everything was coming back good.
Right.
And I I was in the emergency room overnight. They finally put me into a room in the morning. So, I stayed the entire night in a bed in a hallway. And
Oh
then I
god.
finally get into a room in the morning and I'm like, "Okay, yes." Like, I'm in my own room. I'm gonna have my own doctor. They're gonna be giving me tests. I'm gonna get an answer. The first doctor comes in and goes, "All right, well, the doctor said we can discharge you." And I was like, "Excuse me?" It's like,
Mhm.
I literally just got into this room. Like, they're like, "We did all the tests, and the doctor doesn't feel like, that you need to be in this hospital room, but we are gonna give you, the Holter monitor to send you. You're gonna wear it for a month. We need to monitor your heart for a month, see what's happening." And I just remember going numb. Literally, my
Mhm.
entire body was numb. And I looked at the doctor, and I remember she looked at me, and I could tell she felt so bad because she
Mhm.
knew that, like, I just needed to know. Like, I was
Yeah.
scared. I was really scared. Um, so, I looked at the doctor and I said to her, I said, "Can this all be anxiety and nervous system related?" And
Mhm.
she looked at me and she was like, "Absolutely. And I think that this might be what you're experiencing." Um,
Mhm.
but again,
And
it
what
was
made you
so
think yeah.
because
What made you think, like, your mind start going there?
I have in years before, I've had experienced anxiety, and the symptoms that I had those years before with panic and anxiety had been, like, a little bit similar, but
Mhm.
never to this extent, but
Mhm.
a little bit similar. So now I'm thinking, "Okay, could this be it?"
Mhm.
But I'm still
Maybe
going home
something
with the
not
heart monitor, like, "You are
oh, of
you are
course.
checking my heart because there's no
Yes.
reason why my heart should be spiking for no
Right.
reason." Um,
Mhm.
so, I mean, this could go on forever. There's so many stories
I
that
know.
I could tell you, but
Yeah.
basically that is what led me to be like, "Okay, I need to, like, kind of figure out what's causing this or what the root of
Mhm.
this is." Um, After, wearing the Holter monitor, my heart was pretty much normal. Like, they did find
Mhm.
some spikes in it, but it was in a normal rhythm, so they weren't
Okay.
concerned about it. And
And
then y
while wearing the monitor, did you ever have any, of these episodes so that they could track it or no?
yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And did your heart rate it still shot up, but it
It
wasn't,
shot up,
like
but it wasn't in an abnormal pattern.
got it.
I
Okay.
still really thought that something could be wrong. So now these symptoms are giving me panic, and I'm
Yeah.
getting, like, it's just like a rotation of what's causing this panic. Now I'm panicking because of my panic. Like, now
Yes.
I'm like, literally, it's just a cycle of horrible
Yes.
things happening. Um,
Totally.
Panicking because I'm like, what if I remember, like, thinking because I was still waking up with this feeling of my blood
Mhm.
draining from me every day. As the day went on, it would get a little bit better, but like, I remember thinking, I'm like, "Am I gonna wake up like this every single day for the rest of my life?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
this cannot be happening." I can't it got to the point, Zan, where I couldn't this is after the hospital. I
Mhm.
couldn't be in a room by myself. Like, literally, if somebody left the room, I would be following them.
Mm.
I could not leave my house. I couldn't even go somewhere with somebody else. Like, I did not want to
Mhm.
leave my house. I would try to go for a walk. I would make it maybe 2 houses down. I'd have to turn around, come back right back home because I felt
Mhm.
those feelings coming on, and I'm like, "No, I'm not putting
Mhm.
myself in this position." Um, Obviously, I had to take a leave from my other job as well. So it wasn't just this that I took a break from. It was literally my entire life that, like,
Everything.
needed to go on a
Mhm.
hiatus. And that was scary. It was my because I started going to even more doctors because I was like, something's not right. Maybe there's something in my stomach and my gut, and Like, I went to
Yeah,
the gastro, and actually my gastro is the one who told me, "I think this is definitely An anxiety, depression, um, nervous system
related.
dysregulation related."
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he put me in contact with somebody who could help me in that
Mhm.
realm, and
Mhm.
when he said that, I think that I was at the point where I was like, "Okay, like, this is it. This is
Yeah.
what's going on, and now I need to figure it out because 'cause I'm not
Well, and
living my
finally
life
getting
taking my blood
yeah.
pressure every I'm not kidding, like, multiple times a day, checking my blood pressure, my pulse.
Totally.
It was
I mean,
bad.
you're finally getting an answer to feel validated, right? And like our medical system, health system can do that a lot to people. Think that they're making up these symptoms or look, we did all these tests, nothing's popping up, you're fine. And that just feels so brushed off, right? You feel
Mhm.
hopeless. And
Mhm.
so I remember, like obviously you were very communicative with all of us and I fully understood. Steph had to take a step back. Like, look, our role here is to guide women to become their healthier selves. And Steph was not in a place to do that when she needed to take care of herself. And so we all agreed it was a really important decision for her to take a step back from, all facets in life to really, really
Yeah.
focus on this.
Yeah.
And so before you dive into like the next part of your healing, just like a quick little definition for the audience. Obviously, we know we have a nervous system. We have a
Mhm.
parasympathetic nervous system. We have a sympathetic. So explain the two of them and then, kind of guide me from there in terms of like, okay, once you went to this doctor, then what was your next step?
Yeah, so it's basically like your fight or flight system, um, and things your body doesn't really know the difference of when you're in danger from, like, a physical danger and when you're in danger from the inside and the things
Hmm.
that are happening internally. So that can put you in a state of fight or flight without even really realizing there's a threat or it's not
Hmm.
an obvious threat.
Yep.
So that's essentially what was happening. There were threats going on within myself that I did not feel safe within myself, and it kind of progressed. It doesn't just go right to this point. There are definitely signs to look out for before it gets to this point of me where I was in a freeze. Like,
Yeah.
I
Debilitated
basically
almost.
every system in my body kind of took a took a toll and shut down a little bit. I mean, my digestion definitely shut down. I couldn't eat for weeks. I could not put food to my mouth. And for those of you who know me, I always put food to my mouth. So
Yes.
now I'm like,
You're not eating, you're
okay,
not
like
working out, like, you're not doing
I'm
your usual everyday things.
no. Like, I needed to drink Ensure shakes to kinda get something in. I lost so much weight.
I was gonna
It
say, I
was to the
remember
point where it wasn't really like, it was going
yeah.
down a bad road if I wasn't fixing
Mhm.
it.
Well, it wasn't intentional, just so everyone knows, but I remember being
No.
on a Zoom video with you being like, "Steph, you look so tiny."
Yeah.
And it's just a depiction of, like, when your body shuts down internally, everything else is gonna be negatively impacted, and so your body was just in a constant state of fight or flight because it didn't recognize you actually weren't in a threatening situation. You may have been dealing with a lot of personal things. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
that's correct.
Yeah.
And these things this there's so much to this topic. There's so much to this
Totally.
topic. Like, I'm not the type of person to put a Band-Aid on something and, like, even when I started feeling better, I didn't come back to the habit
Yeah.
right away
No. You took a year and a half.
because yes,
Mhm.
because I knew that this kind of work takes intention and it takes time and it takes, like, I wanted to give it my undivided attention, and because I
Mhm.
never want this to happen to me again. And I know that there's a reason why it did happen to me, and that is stemming from years prior. Like,
Mhm.
this goes back to childhood, it goes back to adolescence, and of course, things that I was dealing with in my adulthood. So things
Mhm.
just kind of snowball the more you
Mhm.
bury things and the more you hide things and the more you feel unsafe within yourself. It
Mhm.
it just snowballs. And I do wanna say this before I forget. Um, the reason why I did come out and say that I was experiencing these things was because when I would confide in, like, some of my friends or, like, when I put it out there, people would come to me and be like, "Oh my gosh, I experienced this. I know exactly what you're going through." Like, of course, everybody's situation looks different. This is very individualized, so what I did to help heal myself, it would be totally could be totally different from what somebody else would do,
Mhm.
depending on their situation, but I realized that it was so much more prevalent
Mhm.
than I ever knew. Like, I knew there was a mind-body connection, obviously. I knew
Mhm.
that, like, your mind had power and
Mhm.
your internal, I guess you wanna call it, like, your soul has power, but
Mhm.
I never knew that it could be to this extent, and maybe
Totally.
if somebody talked about it more, and these are
Mhm.
people that, like, I was close with, I had no idea. So,
Interesting.
I'm sitting there wondering, like, why don't we talk about this more? Because I feel like a
Mhm.
lot of people go through this, maybe not to the extent, but it's happening. Everyone's nervous
Yeah.
system is taking a toll in its own way. And I feel like
Mhm.
if we talked if I had known a little bit more about it, if I was educated a little bit more on it and knew exactly how physical it could be,
Mhm.
maybe I would have realized earlier or
Mhm.
not gone down the route of something has to be medically wrong.
Right.
Um, so that's why I think it's important to kind of put awareness to it.
Mhm.
Um,
Because look, I mean, you're dealing with
and
something completely foreign, right? And then you found support and community in something that you didn't know really existed. And that's very important when you're going on a brand new journey, not really knowing like what to expect. And it's
right.
validating, right?
Yeah,
Like you're like, oh,
absolutely.
wow, other people are dealing with this. And I just have to acknowledge, the fact that you continue to advocate for yourself because a lot of people don't do that. They get turned away from doctors being like, you're medically fine, and they get ignored and then they brush it off and they don't deal with it head on. And that's why I absolutely wanted to do an episode too, not only to build awareness, but to showcase like, no, if you know there is something wrong, within yourself you are not feeling the same. Don't give up on advocating
Right,
because if you didn't jump to all the different doctors, you never would have gotten answers.
right.
And that's ultimately what set you on the path of finally healing yourself. And
Yeah.
so I do want to acknowledge how strong you were in that because a lot of
Thank
people
you.
aren't.
Thank
Of
you.
course.
Um, I can list some of the things that, like, was happening, net thinking back to lead up to that. So
Right.
maybe like a warning sign to people
Yeah.
to kind
Yeah.
of pay attention to. Um,
Mhm.
again, these are just some that I've experienced. Um, like a loss of concentration, a loss of focus, motivation. That I noticed that with my workouts because I've never,
Mhm.
ever since I started working out, I've never really went through periods,
Mhm.
maybe like a few days, maybe not even, like, where
Yeah.
I didn't wanna go or I couldn't go unless I was
Mhm.
sick, but this was a different "I can't go" type of thing.
Right. Mhm.
Um, pain in your hips and your lower back, I learned that you do store a lot of unprocessed emotions and traumas in those areas, so if you're having, like, chronic hip and low back pain, that could be a sign. Muscle twitching. I I'm talking about, like, every part of my body would have twitches in it.
Mm.
Like, when, like, you get those muscle
Like
twitches,
a
but then they go
spasm.
yeah, like a spasm, but then they
Yeah.
go away? Well, this
Mhm.
happens and it doesn't go away, and it jumps from place to place on your body, and you're like, "Why
Mm.
is this part of my body randomly spasming?" Very,
Yeah.
very weird. I mentioned the heart palpitations, increased heart rate. Um, these I don't know if I guess we were clear, like, these were panic attacks that I was
Mhm.
experiencing.
Mhm.
I don't know if we put a label to that before, but that's what this was, panic attacks.
Mhm.
Um, jaw clenching, anxiety, low tolerance to exercise, gut issues. So I would go through periods of time where, like, my gut would be either severely, like, bloated, or I couldn't really eat certain
Mhm.
things, and then I got to the point where I couldn't eat anything. Sleep disturbances, memory issues, and people pleasing, like, those things. Um, when you do this work, I was really lucky enough to get a somatic practitioner to help me come back into my body, because this whole thing had me completely outside of my body.
Mhm.
And I needed to spend the time to, like, reconnect with my own flesh and my own body.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you're all in your
Totally.
head. So I did do a lot of somatics, um,
And by the way,
which
somatic
it's very
exercises are
broad, the
yeah, but
somatics.
in general, because actually, ironically, I give my clients a lot of somatic exercises to do if they are experiencing a lot of anxiety, sleep issues, just can't
Yeah,
calm their brain down. So just know somatic exercises are correlated to helping soothe your nervous system. So
correct.
there's, I mean, you can do physical ones, you can do breathing. I mean, there's a whole, list. And so that's just,
Shaking is a big
yeah.
one too. Mhm.
Hmm. That's what Steph's referring to, though. Like, once she noted or once she finally realized, okay, you know, all of this past, personal issues, trauma, whatever it might be from your childhood on, it's been stored in her body, her brain. She never dealt with it, right? Then all of these like little symptoms started surfacing, and she would notice them, but maybe didn't really think much of it. And then she started having like these really big episodes where she just felt completely out of her body, zero control over it. Her body was just in that complete fight, flight, and even freeze, I would say, for you
Mhm.
at times because it was debilitating. So once she finally went to a million different doctors, they did say something about, system or nervous system dysregulation. So that then set you onto the path of dealing or working with someone who specialized with somatic exercises.
Yeah,
Is that right?
because
Okay.
I did start medication, I will say that.
Okay. Yeah.
So, because
No shame in that
I needed to
either.
come out of it, and I really didn't want to start it, and I know people have come out of it without starting it,
Mhm.
but I was so severe that I couldn't live my life, that
Mhm.
I needed that boost for me.
Yeah.
This is just my
Totally.
experience. So, I started it, um, but to me, that was not gonna be the end of it. That wasn't gonna
Yeah.
be where I stopped. I wanted to find out why this happened,
Mhm.
and regulate myself and do the work to regulate myself, and I will tell you that it was work. It took intention
Mhm.
every day to come into your body, take the time to do it, learn, and I think something that my somatic practitioner told me that really helped me was I wasn't broken. Like, this is
Mhm.
what your body is supposed to do
Mhm.
when they perceive a threat. My body was just doing what it was meant to do. It's just there wasn't
Mhm.
a physical threat there.
Yep.
Um, but this is all wired within us.
Mhm.
My body was working the way it should be. It's just I needed to find out why I was threatened internally when I wasn't
Internally. Yeah.
threatened externally. And
Yeah.
I think I found that out. There's
Mhm.
still, like, a lot of questions that that I'll probably never have the answers to. but I found the root of a lot of it, and
Mhm.
I do wanna say that if you know somebody that's going through this just popped into my head. If you know someone that's going through it, please don't say to them, like, "Just snap out of it." Like, "Come
Oh my
on, get
god,
up,
yeah.
you could do it, snap out of it." There's
So
nobody
invalidating.
that wanted to snap out of it and get up and do it and go to the gym and go to work and do all my stuff more than me. Like,
Mhm,
trust
mhm.
me, like, this is
Yeah,
not something that I chose. Um, I was trying, and you just can't fight it. You
yeah.
really can't. Um,
And sorry, on that note,
yeah.
because I can attest, like I remember you messaging me about getting on medication. And if you don't mind me saying it was like an SSRI, right?
Yes.
Just to
Mhm.
help with anxiety. Okay. I'm on one too. And I remember you coming to me
Yes.
and talking to me about it. And I told you my experience, it was life changing, right? I've always dealt with pretty bad anxiety and never to a point where it completely dysregulated my nervous system, but, it was a very, very helpful piece to my journey. So, one, it's not stigmatized. If you need to do it, do it.
Mhm.
Um, I know Steph may have wanted to maybe do it without the medication, but she was so in deep that she just wanted, like you said, you wanted your freaking body and mind back, and
Yeah, I needed
working.
some sort of relief.
Just like a little like a booster just to kinda get it started, right?
Right.
And so, one, don't think that you're failing by any means if you have to go the medication route. It's there for a reason. It's there for
Right.
support, and it doesn't mean you have to be on it forever.
Right.
And to Steph's other point, if you've never dealt with anxiety, you don't understand how debilitating it can be. And it just got to a point where it took over your whole body this time, where maybe for some people it's only, it stays within the brain, the mind, yours, whole body. And so if you've never dealt with that either, you have no idea. Like, I mean, it was painful for us to watch Steph go through this because I know how active she is. I know, just how dedicated you are to your health and something like this happens. But it's probably fair to say that the world, the universe was telling you that
Mhm.
maybe you were going down a path that you weren't supposed to, right? Because I
Right.
do know, and without getting into any details, that it did cause you to kind of reflect on some of your life choices and where you were going, and you kind of pivoted, right? And you kind
Yeah.
of moved direction, which, maybe you learned in the hard way. But I genuinely believe like that was the universe guiding you, though, too, because, clearly the environment you were in and what was going on was triggering your nervous system. And your nervous system only knows whether it's a threat or you're safe. And whatever was going on, it was a threat.
Right.
So I do think it gave you a lot of reflection too. And you made
Yeah.
big life changes that for the
Yeah.
better, I'm sure. And that's doesn't a lot of people would ignore that, let's just say. And so I do think that you did a really good job looking at all the pieces of the puzzle and understanding that some things needed to be let go and you needed to go on a different path.
Yeah, and I think that ignoring problems or burying them, um,
Mhm.
only backfires in the end because I feel like a lot of the patterns, a lot of the I guess the internal mindset and things that I was thinking to myself go back way farther than my adulthood. So the patterns just keep repeating, and you kind of have to get out of that cycle, and breaking that cycle is extremely hard. Um,
Mhm.
but if you don't break the cycle, there are repercussions, and
Mhm.
you kind of it's like your body is like poking at you like,
Yeah.
oh, like,
Like, "Hey,
pay
wake
attention to
up."
this, like, pay attention to
Mhm.
this, like, look what's going on internally in yourself, and then like you ignore it, and then it like slaps you in the face like, well, if you're not going to pay attention, I'm going to make you pay attention. And this
Mhm.
is that's
Mhm.
exactly what happened. It was just like
Yeah.
it was the tip of the iceberg for me that kind of set everything off. But I am actually extremely grateful for this
Mhm.
happening because it made me really deal with a lot of things inside of myself that I probably neglected in the past.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
And your own experiences equip you to be an even better coach, for your future clients. Who knows if one of them are experiencing this, or just in general, we deal with stress and anxiety every day. And so, speaking from experience, you can help people regulate their nervous systems before it completely goes haywire, right?
Right,
And so I always say, some of these hardships are in turn learning opportunities and opportunities for us to then teach other people. And I think that is what you're meant to do. You're meant to put your story out there and talk about what happened and your healing process and normalize this because not a lot of people talk about it.
right.
Um, and now, all of your current clients, now that you're back, get to, hear your story and see what happened. And just know that, if things start happening within them, you're going to be a safe space to go to talk about it. So I think that's really
Exactly.
awesome. Yeah.
Thank you. And I appreciate you. I know I said this on my stories before, but I really do appreciate you understanding that this was important. It was important to my health. It was definitely necessary. I mean, I couldn't
hmm
have done it even if I tried, but it was important to me to take the time and knowing that I could always come back and have a spot and be part of this family was really like I'm grateful for that. So thank you for
Of
understanding
course.
that.
Oh, of course. Just so you guys know, Steph is my other like psych girl. She loves
Yeah.
psychology. She has a master's in it as well. And so
No, no, no.
this is some
No, my master's is not in psychology. My
oh, it's
my
not.
bachelor's is in psychology.
Bachelor's, that's what
Yeah.
it is.
My
I knew
master's is in
something.
exercise science.
Okay,
Yes.
yes. But coming from my background, Steph's background, I mean, I'm not saying none of the other coaches understood, but I fully understood that, this is gonna be a lot of internal work for you, and I knew that you needed to just do it solely on your own, and I'm not someone to ever, not welcome someone back after their own healing journey, so, like I said, I'm glad, that you went through this. You're healthy, you're in a better space, you're happy to be back. I know that you took a year and a half just because you were very protective over your health. When we work with clients, obviously we take on a lot of their emotions. We take on a lot of their
Yes.
struggles because we care. We care about them and their goals. And sometimes you just don't have the capacity if you're dealing with your own stuff. And so that's kind of why, Steph chose to not come back until she knew she could fully give herself and energy to her clients because that's what you guys deserve.
Right.
Um, but I think I think it was important. I think it's gonna make you not that you weren't a good coach to begin with, but an even stronger coach.
Aw, thank you.
And yeah, absolutely. Um, so kinda just like to tie this all together, obviously you started working with a somatic, practitioner, is that what you
Yep.
would say?
Mhm.
Um, so you're doing those exercises, right? And we could do a whole other podcast on somatic exercises, so we'll save
Yes.
that for another time, which actually that's a good idea.
That
Maybe we
is a
could
good
do that.
idea.
Yeah, maybe we could follow up this episode with all of that. But what are you doing right now? Like, are there things you're doing every single day just to ensure that you stay in a, safe spot mentally
Mhm.
and physically?
Well, I wanna say that it's not about staying calm all the time. Like, when
Right.
that's not the whole point is to just stay calm. It's to be able to handle the things when things aren't when you're not calm. So,
Mhm.
to be able
Mhm.
to handle them and kind of, like, have a different I did change my perspective on a lot of things, so I'll, like, reframe my mind,
Mhm.
a lot. Like, if I'm catching myself in a thought, I reframe it, um, to be a little bit more, positive or maybe not go down a spiral of thinking so negatively, or being scared. Like, sometimes I do still get the panicky feel. I feel it coming on,
Mhm.
but I can deal with it. And it's not always about pushing it away. It's
Mhm.
about allowing that feeling to come, settle in, realize what's happening, and just kind of let it be, and then that
Mhm.
makes it go away. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? So it's not
No,
about
totally.
pushing It's not about, "Oh my god, I gotta make this feeling go away." Like, "What do I do? What do I do? I gotta make this feeling go away." It's about sitting in it and letting it happen, which is also very difficult, but it's if you train your mind to do that, your body just kind of it realizes, "Okay, I'm not in a threat." Like, she's not freaking
Mhm.
out. She's
Mhm.
not trying to make this go away. I'm not threatened, and then it kinda just fizzles out.
Mhm. Not
If
crazy at all. I
it's
did
it's
another epi
so hard. It's so hard
to
to
ex
explain
to
this.
put it into words. No,
It really
absolutely.
is. Like, I can't really explain it. But to answer your question, what I do every day is I do my normal routine, except my
Mhm.
intentions are different. So and I have a much better outlook on things, like, I get to go to the gym. Like, right now, if I don't wanna do something, I immediately think about the time I couldn't walk 2 houses
Mhm.
down, and I'm like,
Mhm.
"Wait a second, I can do my body is able to do this right now," and that gets me right up and going, like, because you
Totally.
never wanna be in that spot.
Yeah. Mindset is everything, and going back to the emotional piece, I did an episode, just me on the episode, talking about the 90-second rule with emotions.
Mhm.
And so, if you have not listened to that, you guys go back. It'll explain exactly what Steph is talking about. But what she's referring to is an emotion actually only lasts 90 seconds. If it lasts more than 90 seconds, it is your thoughts and your rumination feeding into the loop. And so, what Steph is doing is allowing her body and her mind to feel the emotion for 90 seconds, sitting with it, letting it pass, and reframing her thoughts so that she doesn't basically allow the emotion to stay surfaced.
Correct.
Again, you can go in. I go into all the science and everything in that episode, but that's essentially, what she's talking about. And it's not freaking easy. I mean,
No.
dealing with uncomfortable emotions is against human nature, and it's against our brains. Our brains want to protect us from feeling pain and everything. And so we do tend to ignore, right? We tend to push away, but
Yes.
that backfired, right? Regular nervous system overload essentially for you. And so now you've learned that it's not going to just go away. You know how to cope with it now. You know how to
Yeah.
deal with those moments rather than allowing it to go into a full blown panic attack again.
Right.
So
Like, I
that's
was doing
really, really.
safety somatics every day
Mhm.
with my body,
Mhm.
when this was going on and, a little bit after. I don't do that every day now. I'll do some, like, somatic exercises, movements before bed if I'm feeling, I need to come back into my body after the day. But a lot of,
Mhm.
like, my workouts, I bring somatics into my workouts. I really pay attention to my body and my workouts now, grounding myself.
Mhm.
Um, and a lot of it is just everyday actions and what you speaking your truth. That's a
Mhm.
big one. Like, these are all changes that you make as you heal. You're able to and do the things that kind of got you here in the first place by not doing them.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, by
No,
not
totally.
speaking your truth and by burying things, it's gonna lead you to a place of unsafety because you don't feel safe with yourself.
Mhm.
So, learning how to do that, not in a mean way,
Yeah.
but in a matter of fact way. This is
Mhm.
setting boundaries. This is my truth. This is my boundary, and not feeling guilty for it and not
Yep.
feeling bad or like you're a bad person for it.
Absolutely.
That was just my experience.
Yeah. No, totally. I mean, like you said, you now know. I think that you obviously have more self love for yourself now, right? And that people pleaser part of you isn't, or it's dulled down because you understand you should always be your own priority, right? And again, that doesn't have to be rude, but it's the truth. You have
Right.
to pay attention and take care of yourself before anything else. And so I think the universe just shook you
Yeah.
to be like, yeah, this is what we really need to focus on. And yeah, it took a while, but I could say, and I mean, you can attest to this, you're in a much freaking better place physically, mentally. You're the Steph that we once knew.
Thank you.
And yeah, now you're equipped basically. You've learned what to do, when things do resurface. And so
Yeah.
I think that that's a powerful message that don't lose hope in this. Yeah, it can be a long journey, but it's so rewarding at the end.
Yeah, absolutely, and then I don't think there really ever
Mhm.
is gonna be a complete end, but,
Yeah.
um, it's definitely much better than it was, and
Yeah.
I'm very thankful for it.
Good.
So if anybody ever wants to talk about this in depth more, or if this resonated with you and you have questions, you can always like DM me or
Yeah,
anything, or reach out to
absolutely.
Zan. She'll contact me. Like I am an open book about this because I think awareness is very important.
And I do think that we'll do an episode on somatic exercises because I think that could be very eye-opening too, and it doesn't have to be just for, to the point where you got where it was debilitating. I mean, they're so helpful in everyday life, and
Oh yeah.
so, we can definitely do
Unprocessed
that.
traumas, unprocessed
Yes.
emotions, releasing. It
This is why we
really does
always
work.
joke,
It
we
really
become
does
everyone's
work, and it's
therapist.
I know, like, it sounds like woo-woo to some people, like the somatics and coming in and the
Right.
past traumas and, healing, and it sounds woo-woo to some people. I get it. But this is all very real. I promise you,
Mhm.
because
No, totally.
I experienced it. It's real.
Yes. Yes. Well, I just want to thank you again for, being open about it, building awareness around this. This will not be the only conversation we have. It's just the start. I wanted everyone to know who you are, how you were a coach, why you had to take a little hiatus, and I just appreciate you, telling your story. And so,
Definitely. Thank you.
yeah. If anyone does resonate with us, please reach out. We would love to hear. And Steph, I'm sure, would love to even be able to work with you in the future, if that's something that, you need support in. So
Yeah, absolutely.
thank you again. Yes.
Thank you.
And until next time.
Bye.